This is an issue unique in this series because it only happens when film is loaded improperly. It's the only error that can happen that way. It also only happens with film reels, or rarely with multiple sheet holders for 4x5 sheets. This issue can affect plastic or metal reels. When film is loaded in such a way that the emulsion layer touches the back of the film that's in front of it in the spiral, that touching creates a space where the film does not receive developer during the developing process. This leaves the emulsion on that emulsion layer intact, undeveloped, and uncleared. Uncleared means that it was not removed in the developing process in the same way that all the rest of the emulsion was removed. Negatives look like this. Images look like these. So there are some ways that you can prevent this. And the biggest one is to practice loading film with some dummy film. Pick up some expired film on eBay. There's tons of it out there and it's usually pretty cheap. Take it out of the cassette and practice loading with it. Perfect your film loading technique in the light. If you have a roll that comes out with touching blobs like this, before you do anything else, if you have another roll that you're working with, take that reel aside and mark it. Electricians tape is an easy thing to use, and it's always worth having that in your darkroom for taping up tanks to prevent the lids from popping off. So a quick thing you can do is just put some electricians tape around it and deal with looking at it later. After you finish your developing, inspect that reel, hopefully not multiple reels, that you tagged with tape for areas where, if the spiral is metal, it's dented or out of alignment or has separated from the support structure. If you have plastic reels, then check it for places where the spiral has broken or might have other damage that would cause the film to catch. In metal reels, if there's a visible bend, this will typically be on the outside of the metal reel and will stem from it having been dropped. You can always try to bend it back into shape. There is some tolerance within the film and the metal reels, so if it's not perfect, that's okay. It just has to be pretty good. So test the reel again with dummy film and see if it loads well. If it does, then give the reel another go with real film, but first you want to mark it indelibly. So you can tie the metal core of a twist tie around the middle of the reel, for instance, or you could take a file and make a small scratch on a discrete part of the reel that doesn't touch the film. You can call the mark strike 1. If the next time the reel is used there's an issue, you can call that strike 2 and don't give the reel a strike 3. For metal reels that are bent beyond repair, I spray paint them to prevent future use, and then I use them for other things like weights on photo backdrops or as stands underneath a backdrop to raise a subject in tabletop studio work. Broken plastic reels, when I used them, would be recycled. Metal reels can also be recycled, of course, but reuse is better, and painting them will prevent you from using them again in the future for developing, because they'll stand out as easily recognizable as having been a problem reel.